Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another standard baseball video. Today, I made a tier list. It's called Trade Deadline Predictions Tier. It's not players, it's teams. I'm going to be predicting where I think every team is going to stand. Today is the 24th of, actually, no, it's the 22nd of July. My apologies. So we are about 8 or 9 days away from the deadline. So with that being said, here, I'm going to talk about the tiers for a bit. We have, from top to bottom, we have F It We Ball. That is just, you're going to buy and you're going to go big. You can go big or you go home. Go big or go home. I do apologize for any misspeaking. This is my first video of the day. Buyers. Makes sense. You're gonna buy multiple pieces. Then we have soft buy, which is probably going to be just adding around the margins of your team. Like, let's say you're going to shore up your bullpen with one move and add a bench bat. We have stand pat, which is you're going to do not a lot. Sell UFAs, which is you're going to sell on your upcoming free agents. And then you have blow it up, which is pretty self-explanatory. All 30 teams are represented here with their logos, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with Arizona. The Diamondbacks are currently in the wild card chase. I think they're going to be soft buyers. I think they're probably going to add some offensive depth, and I think that they're also going to probably add a bullpen. There's not really much I can say about them. I think they can get a left-handed bullpen arm. I don't know who they'll get. I had Colin Poche going there in a video I did yesterday. Do check that out if you haven't. And for their bench, I'm not quite sure who they'll add, but they're probably going to look to add around the margins. And we have the Atlanta Braves. I think the Braves are buyers. Like, the Braves know they need to go out and get another outfielder, and they might want some more pitching depth. So I think Atlanta is firmly in the buyer category, considering where they are in the wild card chase right now. Next, we have Cincinnati, and I'm going to say they're going to sell their upcoming free agents. You have Nick Martinez, you have Frankie Montas, and you have Justin Wilson, who you could also trade away. Maybe someone takes Brent Suter, but he just suffered an injury, so I'm not sure if he'll be available for a trade. So the Reds have a lot of pitchers who could be, the other teams would want. So I think the Reds are going to sell on their upcoming free agents. And I don't know, I don't really see this team competing where they are right now. So I think they're just going to sell, restock for next season, and hopefully then they can make a push. Cleveland, I think Cleveland's going to buy. They need another starting pitcher because Tristan McKenzie and Logan Allen are currently in AAA. Do you really trust Carlos Carrasco to take the mound during a playoff game? Not quite sure. I mean, same goes for Ben Lively. I mean, who do you really trust in that rotation other than Tanner Bybee and Gavin Williams? It's 2 starters. You need at least 3 in the playoffs. So I think Cleveland is going to try to get a starter. Colorado, I'm going to say they're going to sell on their UFAs. I think they're going to probably trade Elias Diaz, hopefully. They're going to trade off maybe a bullpen arm, like Jalen Beeks they're probably going to trade. They might trade Cal Quantrill and Austin Gomber. That's another possibility. Do I think that they will? Maybe. It would be nice if this team sells and decides, hey, like, we really like what we have going down on the farm system. You just picked up Charlie Condon in the draft. So I would like it if this team sold on their UFAs. Will they? I don't know, because this team has one of the more confusing front offices in baseball. Minnesota Twins, I think they're going to buy, but I don't know, because I think this team could use some starting pitching depth, and they have a glut of position players that they could use to get the necessary starting pitching depth. So I think they're going to buy simply because I think they'll go for a middle of the rotation starter, at least. Like, I want to shout out And It's Gone Baseball, who did a video recently about trades where they said that the Twins could trade for Luis Severino, sending over one of their outfielders to the Mets, which seems pretty realistic to me. I think the Twins are going to go for that kind of starting pitcher. I just don't think they'll trade with the Reds because we saw what happened with Tyler Mahle. Houston, buyers. Without a doubt, Houston has made up the ground in that division that they needed to make up, so I think that this team really wants to go for it again. They want to make it back to the ALCS and potentially even beyond, so they're going to at least need one first baseman. They're going to need a first baseman, and they're going to need probably a starting pitcher. So if I'm Houston, who is currently, let me see here, oh wait, never mind. They are tied with Seattle for the division lead. So if I'm Houston, I got to buy at this point. I got myself a first baseman, and you get a starting pitcher. I know people are saying, oh my gosh, they should give Vladimir Guerrero. I know, it's a great fit on paper. Does Houston have the farm to pull it off? That I don't know. Moving on to Chicago. Sell your upcoming free agents. I think the Cubs have really dug themselves into a hole that I don't really see them coming out of. They're 10 games back in the division. So, and even though they're 3.5 out of the wild card, it looks like they're reporting that this team is probably going to sell off some of their upcoming free agents. I could see Hector Neris being traded. Drew Smyly might be traded. I don't know if they'll trade Cody Bellinger because who's going to take on that contract? I know the Cubs will probably have to swallow money if they want to trade Cody Bellinger, which might not please the Ricketts family that much, but business is business. And the Cubs, you made all your moves in the offseason and I guess that just wasn't your year. Kansas City, I have you buying. If you're a Royals fan, you are buying for the first time in years. You just picked up Hunter Harvey from the Nationals for a number 2 prospect in the draft. So, buyers. I think they'll need at least another bullpen arm and maybe an outfielder. But there's not really a ton that this roster needs. I don't know if they pick up starting pitching depth, considering that Alec Marsh has kind of struggled over the last month and a half. I mean, you have Cole Rakins and you have Seth Lugo as your 1 and your 2, which is a really solid top 2. You have Michael Wacha as your 3, and you still have Brady Singer. Do you pick up another 5th starter in the hopes that, they help you get to October? Or do you slide Chris Bubich back into your rotation? You have a lot of question marks on the roster if you're a Royals fan, but I think you're in a good position to buy. The Angels. What do we do with you, Angels? I think you just sell. Honestly, I don't think the Angels are in blow it up mode because what do you trade away? Like, the year to blow it up was last season. This year, you're more going to sell your UFAs. You're probably going to get something for Luis Garcia. You're probably going to get something for Hunter Strickland. You're going to get something for Matt Moore. You're definitely going to get a return for Estevez. You're going to probably sell off Luis Rengifo, even though he has more team control, because you're in a good position to do so. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. If you're the Angels, restock your farm system, which you blew up last season. Okay. Then we get to the Marlins. Blow it up. They're going to blow it up. You already traded off Luis Ariz. At this point, you might as well trade off whatever else you can. Like, you're probably trading Josh Bell this season. You're probably going to trade one of your pitchers. You're definitely trading Tanner Scott to a team that overpays you for him. And you might even trade Jazz Chisholm. So, if I'm being completely honest, Marlins, blow it up for your own good and reap the rewards of all the prospects. And next season, you have Sandy Alcantara coming back. Yuri Perez is going to come back. Ryan Weathers will be healthy again. Like, you've got a promising core of pitching for next season. Add some position player prospects. Milwaukee. What do I do with you? I think the Brewers are buyers. You already bought Aaron Savale. You're probably going to get at least one more bullpen arm and at least another starter. Because do you trust Colin Ray and Tobias Myers to start a playoff game? That's the question. Do you trust your rotation as it is currently built? I don't know if you do. However, this team doesn't need a lot. And they're leading their division by about 5 games. So if I'm the Brewers, just shore up the holes on your roster. And after that, we ride. The Mets, I see the Mets being soft buyers. Why is this? You picked up Phil Maton in a low-key trade with the Rays earlier this month. If you're going to be competing, you're currently 2 games over 500. So I think if you're the Mets right now, you're currently in a playoff spot. Well, you're tied with 2 other teams for the last wild card spot. But if I'm the New York Mets, what do? I get a bullpen arm. At least one bullpen arm. This roster isn't a weird state because you have Pete Alonso who's going to be a free agent, and everyone's been saying to trade Pete Alonso. I don't know at this point if they'll trade Pete Alonso, but I think this team is probably going to shore up around the margins because this wasn't intended to be a playoff year. This was a transitionary year. They were aiming for 2025. But considering the position you're in right now, I think the best move is a soft buy. The New York Yankees. The Yankees are going to buy. What are they going to buy? Some bench bats, a bullpen arm at least. They might go out and get a starter, but I don't really see the Yankees being in need of a starting pitcher. I think a starting pitcher is more of a luxury for them. Because, I mean, you have Garrett Cole coming back from injury. You have Nestor Cortez. You have Luis Gil. You have Marcus Stroman. There's 4 consistent starters, and Carlos Rodon. You have 5. Who gets bumped out of the rotation? Like, you probably put Gil in the bullpen if you go out and you get another starter. I think the Yankees are going to do some buying. They're going to pick up at least 3 or 4 pieces, because if you're in a playoff game and you need a pinch hitter, do you really trust Jahmai Jones to come off your bench? That is all. So, Yankees, you're probably going to buy at least a bullpen arm and at least a bench bat. Is there anything else that you'll buy? I don't know. That's up to Cashman. The Oakland A's. Honestly, I think Oakland should blow it up. I think you need to trade. This is the year you trade Brimberg. Honestly, like, his value is not going to get any higher than it is right now. He's having a career best first half of the season. He is under team control for 3 more years, and he's going to go into his 30s soon. So if you're other teams, you're going to be wary of trading for him after this season. If I'm the A's, I trade off Brent Rooker right now. I trade off Paul Blackburn for something I can get. You have Ross Stripling, who you could possibly send off in a trade. You have Austin Adams, who you could possibly send off in a trade. Do you trade Mason Miller, though? I say no. I say keep him. But you still have pieces that you could sell off to kind of blow it up, bring back a haul for your farm, and hopefully whoever your front office staff is, if it's the same people or if it's new people once you move to Sacramento, hopefully they can develop this group. Orioles, first team going in the effort, we balled here. You need another ace because Corbin Burns is free agent. Not just because your pitching has been ravaged by injuries, but because Corbin Burns is a free agent. Go out and get an ace. Go out and get yourselves a Tarek Skubal or a Garrett Crochet or somebody that nobody's expecting you to trade for, but you'll somehow find a way to trade for them. If you're Baltimore, get at least 1 starter for the playoffs. Because if you start Corbin Burns and Grayson Rodriguez, you need at least a third starter in the playoffs. And I'm trying to think, who is in your rotation? You have Albert Suarez in your rotation, who's pitched pretty well. But there's not really a ton else. I mean, you have Cade Povich, but do you trust him to start a playoff game? That's tricky. So if you're Baltimore, get yourself another starter, maybe another bat. I don't know. Maybe another elite bullpen arm and a starter of the high-end quality, and you're good. Philadelphia. Oh, nope, you do not go and blow it up. You belong in buyers. Excuse the background noise. There is some yard work being done outside. But if you're Philadelphia, you shore up your bullpen, please. Jose Alvarado has been iffy as of late. You have Jeff Hoffman, who's been really good for you, as has Matt Strom. But if you're Philadelphia, shore up your bullpen. Maybe add a bat to aid your lineup, like just offensive depth, because you just cut Whit Merrifield. So the Phillies are going to buy. I genuinely have no idea who they could buy. I don't really keep up with certain teams as much as I should. But excuse the noise again. Pittsburgh, I think they're in a soft buy category, honestly. I think the Pirates are a team who needs to add around the margins, because your team, you have some solid pieces. Maybe add a bullpen arm and a bat for your outfield or a utility player. I don't really know if you need another starter, because you have starting pitching depth, but I understand if you don't trust Marco Gonzalez or Martin Perez. So you could definitely look to add possibly a starter, but I don't think they're going to do anything that really breaks the bank. Texas. I said it in a video. If you're Texas, I want you to sell. Like, if you lose out until the end of the season, not until the end of the season, but until trade deadline, you should sell. You're currently 7.5 out of the wild card. You're 5 games out of your division, but you're 7.5 out of the wild card. You have a lot of assets that teams will look to trade for, because teams always need pitching. You could get a generational trade deadline haul if you trade off all your UFAs. Do I want you to sell off? It would be unfortunate. I think in the greater scheme of things for your team, it's probably the best move. All right, the Red Sox. The Red Sox are going to buy. I think the Red Sox need to shore up their rotation, and they're going to want to shore up their bullpen as well. I had them getting Andrew Chafin yesterday in a video. I think they do still need a starter. And I've heard rumblings like other Red Sox YouTubers like Robbie Hive have been saying get Zach Eflin, which I think would be a great fit in Boston. Pitchers like Zach Eflin would be a good fit in Boston. Saw another name yesterday, but I'm blanking on the name. But I think Boston definitely has the pieces to bring in a starting pitcher and to bring in a bullpen arm. I don't know how much offensive depth they need because they have a glut of right-handed hitting infielders. So if I'm the Red Sox, I think you're good where you are. Just add another piece or two and you're going to be even better. San Diego, buyers, honestly. This team knows what they need. They need a starting pitcher. They're probably going to want to get a reliever. And I don't know, and just another team that needs pitching. And because you have 4 starters right now. And we don't know when Yu Darvish is coming back. And Joe Musgrove is out until at least late August. So, from San Diego, get yourself another starting pitcher. Because you don't want to overtax your bullpen, which you've already been taxing. And it just makes sense. Like, you just need another starter. You need to get to October before you even start thinking about who starts in the playoffs. San Francisco. Ooh, this is tricky. I'm going to put San Francisco in the sell UFAs category. The only thing is, who do you trade? I know Blake Snell has been pitching better as of late, but how are you going to trade him without eating at least half of that contract? Because tell me what teams that are in the playoff chase can squeeze in around $16 million and still add more. So Blake Snell is probably your best trade chip. You have Michael Conforto, who you could trade off. He's an upcoming free agent. I mean, who else do you trade off if you're San Francisco, really? I mean, it's really hard to gauge because this team is in a very weird spot. Seattle should buy, but I think they're going to soft buy simply because they might need like a long reliever that could also be a 5th starter in case Brian Woo's injury flares up. They're going to need another bat, but with the Mets taking Pete Alonso off the trade block, I don't really know who you could pick up as offensive depth. You just waived Chai France so you can give playing time to Tyler Locklear. This team really has faith in their farm, and I think they're probably going to add 1 or 2 complementary pieces. Don't know exactly what big piece this team could add that would make them say, okay, this is what we need. Maybe an infielder because Jorge Polanco has struggled mightily in the Emerald City. So, yeah, I have Seattle a soft buy. St. Louis, another team I have a soft buyers. They know where they stand. They know that they're in a wild card spot, but I don't think that this team is going to trade off a lot to get the pieces that they need. This team loves getting complementary pieces onto their roster, so I think that's what they're going to do. They're probably going to trade for someone like a Chris Flexen or someone like an Eric Fetty and plug them into the rotation. So St. Louis is going to soft buy, but somehow it's going to work out for them. Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay deserves their own tier. Low. Tampa Bay, you get your own tier, and it's called shuffling deck chairs. The Rays are going to do what the Rays do. The Rays are going to make a trade with at least sending off some of their UFAs and upcoming free agents within a season, and they're going to get some major league ready players back, and somehow it's going to work out for them. They're going to do what they usually do. We saw them do this a few years ago when they sent off Jesus Aguilar for Jake Faria. And then we're going to see it again when they sold off Nathan Eovaldi for Jalen Beeks. This is the kind of thing that the Rays are going to do, and they're somehow going to look great doing it. Detroit Tigers, sell your free agents. I think that the Tigers are in a position where, let's see, where are they in the standings? They're 6 out of the wild card, and in the division, they are 11 out. Yeah, Detroit, you are almost there. You're a year away. Just sell your free agents like Shelby Miller and Jack Flaherty. Get that big prospect haul for Flaherty. And then just look towards next season. Because I think you're in a good spot. This division is not going to get easier. But a more competitive division probably means you'll need less wins to win the division. So, Detroit, sell off your UFAs. Blue Jays, nuke it, launch the nukes. You're done. Ross Atkins is probably out after this year. John Schneider is probably gone after this year. I don't know how they still have their jobs. So if I'm Toronto, I trade off either Vladdy or Bo. You don't trade both. You keep one of them as a face of your franchise. I think they're going to trade Bo. They're going to trade Yimi Garcia. They're going to trade Yusei Kikuchi. They're going to trade off Trevor Richards. They're probably going to trade off Justin Turner. I don't know if you trade Isaiah Kiner for Falefa, but you have trade options. Just don't F up the returns, which is something this team is like really weirdly good at. That's only been with this front office. Like, you trade off Aaron Sanchez and Joe Biagini for one of the top prospects in the game 2 years before you made the trade. So they made that move. So do I have faith in them? Not really, no. But can they possibly get a good return? Yeah, I don't see why not. Nationals, sell off your free agents. Honestly, I think you can sell it. You can get something for Dylan Flora. You can get something for Jacob Barnes. You can get something for Derek Law. You can get something for Trevor Williams. You can get something for... Who's a free agent bat in their lineup? Joey Gallo, Jesse Winker. Someone will probably overpay for Lane Thomas. I think if you're the Nationals, just get some major league ready pieces back and then make a run next season. So then you're almost out of the Corbin contract. Almost out of it, Nationals. You can breathe. Great. I'm not quite sure if this is the last year or the second to last year of that contract. You'll see it on screen. Yeah, you're almost out of it, Nationals. Stay strong. Last but not least, I have two teams left, but one of the logos for some reason didn't import. So we'll start with the White Sox. Blow it up. Trade Fetty. Trade Crochet. Trade Chris Flexton. Trade John Brebbia. Trade Luis Robert. Maybe even trade off Andrew Vaughn. I don't know. You have a lot of options as a team as to who you could trade away. You have teams who will come desperately in need of starting pitching. So therefore, you can get a haul for Crochet. You can get a haul for Eric Fetty. You can get something back for Chris Flexen. Outside of those guys, you will probably get a haul and a half for Luis Robert because of the potential. And I mean, you're in a pretty good spot to sell. This is, as you can see, look how many sellers there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's more buyers than sellers. So therefore, demand is higher than supply. So in that position, if you're a seller, you're in a pretty good position, if I say so myself. The last team of this list is the Dodgers. Their logo, for some reason, did not import when I was making the tier list, but they're going to go up here in the F and Weeble tier. They want Garrett Crochet. They're probably going to get Garrett Crochet. But what do I think it's going to cost them? Probably 3 of their top 5, at least, if not a major league ready piece. Why is this? Bidding wars. But if I'm the Dodgers, the thing is, you don't need Crochet, but you're going to delude yourselves into thinking you need Crochet because he is another elite pitcher. Is he an elite pitcher? Yes, he is. Do you need him? Maybe this year you do. Maybe next season you do. The Dodgers are definitely going to go out and get lineup help, and they're going to get a starting pitcher. Will they get a bullpen arm? They'll consider it because they have Michael Grove and Bruce Dargetta coming back. But I think they're just going to go out and make another blockbuster. They're going to go out and get another big name. And I think that's all the commentary I have. As you can see, here is my completed list. Weirdly, I put no one in standing pat because at this point, I don't think there's a team that's going to really stand pat. If there was a team that was going to do that, it would be San Francisco, but they're probably going to sell off some of their pieces. With that being said, thank you all very much for watching this video. I do apologize if I sound a little weird. I'm kind of fighting off allergies right now. But again, thank you all very much for watching this video. You will see 2 videos on screen that you can click on for more trade-related content. I'm going to go edit this so you can all see it. Thank you all so very much for watching. This is Sounder Baseball, signing off.